Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Michael, you're watching IDB, and today Apple has released iOS 18.1. In this video, I'm going to show you every single feature that is new in this update. I'm going to split this video into two parts. The first part is every feature in this update that is coming to every iPhone, and the second part is going to be every new Apple Intelligence feature. Let's just go ahead and start with some of the basic updates, and the first one is for Control Center. So as you know, in iOS 18, we have a completely overhauled Control Center, and we can now completely customize it, as you can see here on my iPhone. However, when people started customizing their control centers, some people went a little bit overboard and they just wanted a reset button. Luckily, in iOS 18.1, we now have that reset button. So inside of settings, if you click on Control Center, you'll see that we have a new button inside of here. And if you click on this, it's going to completely reset your control center. So I don't want to do this because it took me honestly a couple hours to get this exactly as I want it to. But if you have customized your control center a little bit too far and you just want to get it back to the factory default, it's nice that this option is now here inside of settings. And that is not the only change to Control Center, because Apple has made quite a few updates to Control Center in iOS 18.1. And the first one is the connectivity page. So in Control Center, when you are on your second view like this, showing all of your connectivity options, you can see it has been redesigned. In iOS 18.0, this was a simple list and everything was in this shape, as you can see here with this airplane mode toggle. But now Apple has brought some of the more important options and made them bigger. You can see here we have Wi-Fi, AirDrop, cell data, and Bluetooth. They are all bigger. I think this is a really nice UI change, and it's gonna make finding the option you want a lot easier. And Apple has also given us some more options in terms of connectivity toggles in Control Center. So you can see here, when I go into edit mode, I have all of these options that I can individually change. Before, in iOS 18.0, you only had this option for the connectivity platter, and you had to click into it to get to that other view. But here, as you can see now, each one exists as its own toggle. So if you just want airplane mode and Wi-Fi, you can do that. If you just want Bluetooth, you can have that. The possibilities are pretty much endless. And as you can see, I have implemented these into my control center. So I no longer have that square platter. I just have airplane mode, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cell data. And then Apple has also added a few additional controls, which I've added to my third page to show you. So we have satellite, we have AirDrop, and then we have some all new toggles for the Measure application, which I think is really cool. So if you want a quick button to access the Measure app or the level on your iPhone, you now have that right here. And we also have an update for the iPhone 16 lineup. The iPhone 16 includes an all new button called Camera Control on the side of the iPhone right here. And we have a pretty small change, but I think a lot of people are going to like this. So when you are inside of the camera, if you are in the cameras mode right here, you have the option to change it to the front facing camera just like this. This wasn't an option in iOS 18.0, so I think a lot of people that use the camera control are gonna love the option to switch to the selfie camera without taking their finger off the button. There's also another change in iOS 18.1, which I can't really show you, but I'll do my best to try to explain it. So Apple is opening up the NFC chip in iPhones to third-party developers. If you don't know, NFC stands for Near Field Communication, and it is the technology which allows Apple Pay to work. So when you tap your iPhone or tap your watch to the payment terminal, that is what allows the payment to go through. And Apple has famously restricted NFC and only allowed it to work inside of their applications. But now, I believe this is thanks to new regulations in the EU, Apple is opening up the NFC chip for every application. So the developer of the app does have to write it into the code, but this is really great because, say for example, a car company has a door handle in their new car that supports NFC. If you get the updated app on your iPhone with iOS 18.1, in essence, you could take your phone, tap it against your door handle, and unlock your car. So it's really nice that Apple is no longer locking down this chip, and application developers can write this into their app however they want. And we have another change inside of music. Now, I almost didn't include this because it's such a small change, but it's these little tiny attention to detail features which I love about iOS. So when you are in music and you click on an album, you can see the album now comes forward, and when you go back, it goes back to its place on the home view. Before, in iOS 18.0, you were kind of brought into a horizontally sliding menu where it would move back and forth, but now we kind of have a stacked system where we click on the album, then we go back, and the album goes back to its spot. So I think this looks a lot better. Another change for iOS 18.1 is for the lock screen and notifications. So the iPhone is now going to show a numerical value if you have multiple notifications. So I only have one here, so it's not going to show. But if I had 2 or 3 or 4 Snapchat notifications, it would show that number right on top of the app icon. So I'm going to find a screenshot and put it on your display right now. And the final small feature I found in iOS 18.1 is very, very tiny, but it's again one of those attention to detail moments in iOS. So whenever you have a notification on your lock screen, whenever you lock your phone and you're on the always on display, the app icon is going to switch into the dark mode version of that icon. So what does this mean? Well, you know in iOS 18 where you have the option to put all of your apps into a dark view like this? Well, that now works on the always on display to make it look a little bit better on your eyes. So here you can see I'm in light mode, so the application is in its light mode version. But when I go ahead and lock my phone and the always on display takes over, you can see that my Snapchat application now goes into the dark mode view. So that is everything new in iOS 18.1 for every iPhone user. To be honest with you, it's really not that big of an update. If you don't have an iPhone that supports Apple Intelligence, this really is an underwhelming update. Apple added a few small features, but they really were just focusing on bug fixes and stability. Now I want to go to the exciting part of the video and show you everything that's new in Apple Intelligence in iOS 18.1. So let's talk about Apple Intelligence. This is probably what you're here for. First, I need to cover 2 things. 1, what devices support Apple Intelligence? And number 2, how do you turn it on? The first thing is Apple Intelligence is supported on a very small set of devices, which kind of annoys me. So Apple Intelligence only works on the iPhone 15 Pro and the iPhone 16 lineup. So the only iPhone that supports Apple Intelligence that is not a Pro iPhone is the all-new iPhone 16. I really don't like this. I think there's been evidence online of people porting Apple Intelligence to a much older iPhone, and it still works just fine. So I feel like Apple is forcing you to buy the latest and greatest iPhone. Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments down below. But that's nothing that we can change. We can only complain. So now I'll show you how you can turn it on if you have a supported iPhone. Inside of settings, you're going to notice we have a new option here which replaces Siri. You can see here it says Apple Intelligence and Siri. When you click on this, you first have to turn it on, and you have to make sure that your device language is set to English United States. For me, this isn't a big deal. I'm in Canada, so the English is pretty much the same from country to country. But if you are somewhere else where a lot of the words are spelled differently, it may be a little bit frustrating switching to this language. For now, this is the only language that Apple Intelligence is supported in, and I do believe that more languages are coming in December. But once you have both of these things turned on and set the right way, you are all ready to go, and Apple Intelligence is now completely ready for your iPhone. And the first thing you're going to notice when you have everything turned on is the all-new design for Siri. So the floating orb at the bottom of your screen is now completely gone, and when you press and hold the lock button, you can see this is the new animation for Siri in iOS 18.1. I think this looks really, really good, and I think this is a much, much better animation compared to iOS 18.0 and iOS 17. And of course, you can still activate it using your voice, so you don't need to press and hold the button. So you can simply say something like, "Hey Siri, what's the weather today?" And as you can see, your iPhone is going to respond very fast. And I do feel like the Siri and Hey Siri trigger works a lot faster in iOS 18.1. Now, unfortunately, because this is just the first batch of Apple Intelligence features, Siri is really not that much smarter than Siri in iOS 17 and iOS 18.0. All of those improvements to Siri are coming in future software updates. So it is a little bit frustrating that Apple is not rolling all of this out at the same time, but it seems like we still have the same dumb version of Siri, apart from a few small updates. So Siri can now give you product knowledge. So for example, if you want to know how to change your video resolution, you can ask that. How do I change my video resolution? And you can see here it pulls up info from the iPhone user guide, and it's going to tell you exactly how to do that. You can try another one like this. How do I send a message later? And then again, it's going to pull up the iPhone user guide and tell you exactly how to do that. So I think this is going to be great for people that don't really know how to use their iPhone that well. They now know that they can ask Siri how to do pretty much anything on their iPhone, and it's going to give them an answer. And the other improvements for Siri allow you to stumble over your words and correct yourself. So before, Siri was very strict. You almost had to talk like a robot. But now in iOS 18.1, it can better understand you if you stumble over your words. What is the weather in what's the weather in Los Angeles? As you can see there, I was asking the weather and I accidentally said Las Vegas instead of Los Angeles, and it still understood what I meant. Let's try that one more time. Start a timer for 5 minutes. No, start a timer for 10 minutes. As you can see, it understood what I meant as I corrected myself. I think this is going to be a lot better for people that use Siri a lot, because this happens to me all the time. I always say the wrong thing, and before this update, I would have to get out of Siri and open it again to try that request. But now that you can stumble over your words and correct yourself, I think this is going to make it a lot better. And then we also have kind of a hidden feature for iOS 18.1 Siri, which really isn't told to you very well. So if you double tap the very bottom of your iPhone, you can actually type to Siri, which is really cool. And when you're on your homepage, you don't really have that slider at the bottom, so it doesn't really look like you have any touch points to aim at. You just kind of have to tap at the bottom of the screen and hope you get lucky. But when you do that, you can type to Siri pretty much any query that you could speak. So I can just say weather and hit send, and it's going to give me the weather for my current location. Also, you can see there as I was typing, it was giving me suggestions. So if I say, what's the, and as you can see, it's suggesting I say certain things, like what's the weather, what's the news, what's the visibility today. So if I click on this, you can see it's going to input it like that and give me an answer right at the top. Also, it's a very small thing, but I love the all new animations. So even when you're typing to Siri, you can see you have that colorful glow behind your keyboard. I think this looks really, really good. So all of these updates to Siri are great. However, I still think that Siri is just utterly stupid. Like, compared to ChatGPT, you really can't do anything with Siri. And I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you want to go on a vacation. I'm going to ask Siri, and then I'm also going to ask ChatGPT, and I'm going to see who gives me a better answer. I want to go on a vacation in Western Canada. What would you recommend? You can see all it does is simply search the web. That's all it does. It doesn't give you any intelligent response. It simply gives you an option to search Google, which is completely and utterly useless. Now let's go ahead and ask ChatGPT the exact same thing. So with ChatGPT, we have the option to speak to it or to type our query. I'll go ahead and type. I want to go on a vacation in Western Canada. What would you recommend? I'll tap on send. And as you can see, it is instantly listing all the places that we can go have a vacation. So Apple is saying they're going to implement ChatGPT into Siri in a future software update. But as you can tell, it is not active right now in iOS 18.1. And that is the reason why I have my action button set to ChatGPT right here. Because Siri is still very, very dumb on the iPhone, and ChatGPT is far superior. However, putting aside all of my hatred towards the new Siri, we do have some other pretty cool new features for Apple Intelligence. And the first one is the all-new writing tools feature, which I absolutely love. So here inside of Notes, I have some example text written out. And if I go ahead and select this text, you see that we have an option here at the bottom, and it looks like an AI button. If you click on this, it's going to bring you into the writing tools option, and you have a few different choices. You have a proofread, which is going to pretty much keep the text exactly the same. It's just going to fix any typos or any grammatical errors. We also have rewrite, so we can completely rewrite this in our style. And we also have the option to rewrite it in a style that the system chooses. So friendly, professional, or concise. So if I click on proofread, you can see it's going to recommend 4 changes, and it's going to underline all of those changes it recommends. I'll go ahead and revert it. We also have the option to rewrite. So if I click on rewrite, you can see it's going to analyze everything, and it's going to simply rewrite it in my own style. And then we also have 3 different options here at the bottom. So friendly, professional, and concise. My favorite one is professional, because I am someone who hates writing out professional sounding emails. I just want to write them in my own language. So now in iOS 18.1, I can type out my email in the exact way that I want to say it. And all I have to do is highlight the text and change it into a professional tone, and the AI is going to do the rest for me. And I also should mention that these writing tools are going to work anywhere in the system. So I was showing you inside of Notes. However, this will work inside of Messages, in Safari, in any third-party application. So you can use it anywhere throughout the system. And now I want to show you a really cool feature inside of Photos called Cleanup. This is really similar to the Magic Eraser that the Google phones have had for years, and Apple is now including it in their AI suite. So in a photo, if you click on the edit button at the bottom, you're gonna see that we have a new option with a new icon that looks like an eraser at the bottom. If you click on cleanup, you're gonna be able to remove pretty much anything from the photo. The thing that's annoying is, as you can see here, it takes a pretty long time to load this feature, and I have the newest iPhone 16 Pro, and it pretty much took 10 seconds to load this feature. Maybe this gets faster in the future, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. As you can see here, it says tap, brush, or circle what you want to remove from the photo. So here I took a photo of some chapstick. If I simply circle it, it's gonna know what I'm trying to circle, and it's going to remove it from the photo. You can see it didn't do a very good job, so I'll try to fix it just by highlighting it like that. And I think that looks a lot better. So if I zoom all the way out, you can't really tell that that chapstick was even in the photo. So this works really, really well for cleaning up and touching up your photos. And cleanup can also blur your faces. So if you took a photo of someone and they don't want to be in the photo, or if you're taking a photo for social media and you want to blur someone's face in the background, all you have to do is simply circle that person's face and it's going to blur their face like that. And in my opinion, cleanup is really good for very small things that you notice in your photo, like small imperfections that you want to get rid of. So take, for example, these MagSafe chargers on the table in the background of this photo. If I go into edit and then clean up and then zoom all the way in, if I simply circle these MagSafe chargers, you can see it's going to remove them completely from the photo. And then when I click on done and zoom all the way out, it looks perfect and you can never even tell that they were there. iOS 18.1 also includes an all-new AI-powered focus mode. So when you are here in focus, you can see we have a new option called reduce interruptions. When you have this turned on, it is going to limit interruptions based on the importance of a notification. So the AI is going to determine this for you. So it is going to read all of your incoming notifications and it's going to decide if it's important. So if you get a text, for example, that's just a funny GIF that your friend is sending you, your iPhone is not going to alert you. However, if you get a text that says that the house is burning down, your iPhone is going to alert you. In my experience, this does work very, very well, and I kind of like having this turned on, so my iPhone is only going to alert me when something really, really important needs my attention. We also have some great new AI enhancements inside of Mail. So the first thing you're gonna notice as soon as I open up the application, if you have an urgent email, your Mail app is going to show you at the very top so it makes sure it gets your attention. So I just sent myself an email with the word urgent in the subject line so the AI would pick up on it. And as you can see, it did its job and it's putting it in priority at the top of my application. And then we also have a really great summarize feature inside of Mail as well. So here I just have my bill from TELUS for the month, and you can see at the top we have the option to summarize it. If I click on summarize, it's gonna do it in about 1 second, and it's gonna summarize the entire contents of the email into 1 or 2 sentences. And this summaries feature is also available throughout the entire system. Another place I love summaries is for notifications. So I can't show you because I don't have any right now I can show you, but one example I can give you is when I was in a group chat and all of my friends were trying to figure out what time we were gonna get to the hockey game. And this group chat was consisting of about 20 messages. And I honestly just didn't want to read them all. So when I went into my notification center, the AI on my iPhone had been reading all of those texts as it came in, and it was able to give me a 1-sentence summary of everything that had happened in that group chat. It pretty much said, these 2 people will be late, this person is showing up at this time, and this person is showing up at this time. So it was able to summarize 20 text messages into 1 sentence, which is a really, really great feature, especially for group chats and multiple notifications. And then we also have summaries inside of Safari as well. So if you are reading any article and you click on the reader icon in the bottom corner, if you are in Reader, you'll have the option to summarize. You can see here I have the button, and if I click on summarize, it is going to use AI and it's going to summarize the entire article in a couple of sentences. I'm using this every single day, and this is really, really awesome. And another really great feature in iOS 18.1 is the option to now record phone calls. So when you are on a phone call, once the call gets connected, you're gonna have a button on the top left-hand corner. And if you click on this, you have the option to record the call. So when you start recording, it's going to play an announcement saying this call will be recorded. And now, as you can see, it is recording. As soon as you start recording, you have the option to take notes on this call. And as you type out your notes, it's going to be synced in real time. So if you took a note at the 20-second mark versus taking a note at the 10-minute mark, it is going to show that discrepancy inside of the application. And then once you have finished the call recording, you can view it inside of Notes. You can see here I have a call with Apple Canada. This was earlier today. and then this one was from just a few seconds ago. And also, every single call recording is going to live inside of Notes, and you have a new folder for it as well. So just underneath your quick notes, you have a new option for call recordings, and every recorded call is going to live inside of here. The reason it lives inside of Notes is because the iPhone is supposed to be able to give you a transcript of the call. But as you can see here, this call has been in my phone for about 2 hours, and it still wasn't able to get a transcript. So maybe it's because I'm on a late beta of iOS 18.1. By the time you're watching this video, iOS 18.1 is out and it's out of beta. However, I'm on 18.1 beta 7, I believe, and this transcription feature just hasn't worked at all for me. So let me know in the comments if you're able to get this voice transcription feature working for recorded phone calls. And iOS 18.1 also brings another new feature to Photos, which is called Memory Movies. So here in Photos, if you scroll down and click on Memories right here, you can see that we have a new button called Create. So let's just say Michael and Tegan. And if I click on Send, it's going to compile all of the photos of me and Tegan, and it's going to make a memory movie with music on top as well. And then as you can see, just like this, in a matter of seconds, it has now made that memory for us. And music is playing, but I have the volume turned all the way down just for copyright reasons. You can also tap to cycle through the photos faster. And it's going to show photos and videos. And overall, I think this is a really great feature to make any memory into a movie in a matter of seconds. So that is everything new in Apple Intelligence and iOS 18.1 for now. Apple is going to be releasing a bunch of new AI features in the next few months. So definitely make sure you are subscribed, as we are going to have videos for every single software update with every new update for Apple Intelligence. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like, and also make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss any of our future videos on Apple Intelligence. With all that said, my name is Michael. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.